Welcome to South Baltimore Now. In today's episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with Allie Hudler. Allie brings a wealth of experience from her transition from hospitality to real estate, and she's a passionate advocate for South Baltimore. Through our conversation, Allie shares her valuable insights into the local market, including recent real estate trends and market dynamics. We'll explore the buyer profiles in Locust Point and other neighborhoods around South Baltimore, the influence of new construction, and the affordability of South Baltimore compared to D.C. Allie offers expert advice on staging and presenting homes, competitive marketing strategies, and the benefits of professional services. She wraps up with some key strategies for sellers, highlights the importance of collaboration with her realtor team, and expresses her gratitude for community support. So stay tuned for an engaging episode. Thank you, Allie, and thank you for tuning in. So I'm sitting here with Kevin Lynch and Allie Hudler. Allie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. And once again, we're recording on location from the exclusive SouthBmore.com studios, otherwise known as My Kitchen Table. So we appreciate Allie being here. Kev, what's up, man? You doing all right?
I'm doing good. Fall's always an exciting time in South Baltimore. I wish the Orioles would have played a few more games this year, but yeah, South Baltimore really comes alive in the fall, so a lot of fun to have around here.
It really does. You got to see the Halloween decoration down the street. It's a skeleton with an Orioles jersey, and it just says waiting for an Orioles playoff win.
Too soon. Yeah, I just love how into Halloween this area gets. There's so many cool decorations on houses, and when you see other people doing good decorations, makes you want to step up your own game. So.
Absolutely. Fun time of year, and it is decoration season between now and Thanksgiving and all the other holidays. It's a fun time for sure. Love it. But Allie, again, thank you for being here. And
Allie, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into selling real estate.
Sure. Well, I will start by mentioning my family because I think that's a huge part of me. I've got a wonderful husband, Garrett. We just celebrated our 8-year anniversary yesterday, and we've got
congrats.
Thanks. 2 little boys, Grady's 4.5, Jackson just turned 3, so we love being in the city. But before I got here, I'm originally from Delaware. I went to the University of Delaware, studied hospitality business management, and my first job out of college was at the Renaissance Harbor Place in Baltimore, and that's how I came here. That was a really neat job, but I learned quickly that career path was just not for me. I was working crazy hours in the hotel, and my mom always joked, how'd you start dating Garrett? Because I could hardly see him. But I quickly left and went to join Bozzuto Management Company. So I started as a sales and marketing associate and loved that, helping people find apartments, and quickly rose through the ranks there. But in the meantime, I was like, what do I do with all this time on my hands because I wasn't working in the hotel all the time, and I got my real estate license, and it was something that I was excited about, but I also loved my job at Bozzuto, and I put that in referral and kept working. Flash forward a few years later, I was like, you know what, I'm a manager now. I'm dealing with the owners and the budgets and the maintenance team, and missed helping people being excited to find their home. And I gave my notice to get into real estate, and I got a call the next day from a friend in recruiting, and she said, hey, we're about to sell new houses in Locust Point. Why don't you come talk to Bozzuto Homes? And they offered me the job on the spot, and that's how I came to sell the Alta 47 houses in Locust Point. And it was the best. We got to meet the neighbors. The homes were beautiful. And I said, Garrett, why don't we live here too? So we ended up working there. I lived there. I'd walk 3 houses down to the model home, and I just loved it. And after we sold out of that community, I realized I can do this on my own. And that's when I joined a team and went to resale full time. So
very cool. Yeah, there tends to be trends in where I start meeting a lot of people from a certain area, but I've been on a run of people from Delaware lately. I keep meeting a lot of people from Delaware, and they're all good people. Shout out to my own parents. They're from Delaware. They're good people too, but a run on Delaware people lately around here, it seems like.
Actually, I just pulled up. There's a Delaware tag right in front of me on the street out front.
One of the many states an hour or less from Maryland.
Yes. Yep. I do love being able to drive so many places around here. It's awesome.
Yes, it's very cool. I wish I had more time to take advantage of that. But we are very centrally located, which is good for people in the business world.
Yeah.
So now you're in South Baltimore. Clearly, you guys are becoming a part of the community here, making your home here. So what do you love about South Baltimore?
I always say the people. I think that first and foremost, everyone's just always so welcoming, friendly, looking out for each other. And I think that makes a huge difference in the community. But as far as the city itself and South Baltimore, it's so walkable. There's so many things we can do. We've got great schools with Thomas Johnson, FSK. I think a lot of people are investing in the schools and making that really strong and a place so that way people want to stay in the city longer. So I love seeing that more and more families are around, and not leaving. We actually left the county for a little bit and came back to the city because you just don't have this community aspect that you can't always find that in the county. So that's big, but we love walking to restaurants. We love, if we miss the circulator, we'll walk to the O's game. So I love having the sports around here. And like you said, fall in Baltimore is just amazing. There's just such a vibe and good energy around it. So we love it.
And I know you more than just love living here. You like to promote the neighborhood as well. I'm a fan of your show, the
Thank you.
21230 show. I think maybe I was on that one time. But
You were once.
I love just to see the neighborhood promoted and getting to learn the stories of small business owners. So tell us about your show and how that came to be and why you want to do that.
Baltimore doesn't always have the best reputation from people who don't live here. And I have clients all the time moving from out of state, and they say, oh, my mom told me I shouldn't live in Baltimore. But I'm like, you have no idea. Like, it's just such a wonderful place with wonderful local businesses. And we, again, love like walking to restaurants and supporting the local people, especially through COVID, right? Everybody was struggling to get through that. This started probably about a year and a half ago is when I really ramped up just doing local business spotlights. So I have a videographer that will come with me, interview people, whether it's a restaurant or like Kevin, trying to just get out there and spread the word for local businesses. So I think like, obviously it was wonderful interviewing with you, Kevin, and hearing your story too. You do so much for the community, but it's cool like seeing people like Dan over at Hull Street Blues. You can tell like he's nervous in front of the camera and stands really stiff. But then as you start talking, they warm up and you really get to learn the cool stories and like histories and just background on what they've done. And I think that's really special. So I enjoy it.
And back to your day job. I know or I guess your other day job, but the
real day job.
I guess saying the real estate market's been a little bit wild the last few years would probably be an understatement. So give us a few thoughts on the current state of the market.
Yeah, it's been interesting for sure. We saw the crazy multiple offers, thousands and thousands over asking, waived inspections, all those things. And it's still around. And it's interesting because you could have a house that I would expect to fly off the market like that, and it's sitting a little bit longer. On the other side, you've got multiple offers and still waived inspections and all that. So it's interesting, like it's very house specific, I think. You've got to be priced right because we're starting to see homes sitting on the market a little bit longer. I was actually looking at this the other day. I'm like, I feel like I'm crazy. Why am I seeing all these prices being adjusted? Homes are just sitting on the market longer. So I pulled some data from the last 30 days. Okay, what homes have sold just for Locust Point, being hyper local there. Homes that sold in the last 30 days, what homes are pending, what homes are active. You could see on this graph, all the homes that sold in the last 30 days sold in less than 2 weeks. But then you can see the pending homes starting to sit on the market a little bit longer. And then the active homes spread out way beyond that, almost like some even to 2-3 months out. So I'm starting to see a trend a little bit more towards just, things taking a little bit longer, which is great for buyers because they don't immediately have to rush to a house,
Right.
But sometimes they do. So it's just very strange how that's happening now. But with rates coming down and things like that, I was anticipating more buyers flooding to the market, which I'm seeing, but there's not as much urgency to actually make the offer and get under contract.
With how crazy the market has been, do you almost in some ways feel like it's like an emergency situation to being on call where, oh my gosh, house pops up, we've got to go see this in the next 24 hours or you have no chance of getting it? Has that type of pressure and urgency been around these last few years?
Yeah, it's absolutely been. And it was more so, I think, 2021, 22, when things were really crazy. But just this past week, there's a house. This was out in the county. I have clients there. I love this family. It's a household of 10 people, which is really cool. It's multiple generations. They've got exchange students in there, and they're really
reality show coming soon.
Pretty much, yes. They're looking for this unicorn. So, like, we've looked at a lot of houses all throughout Maryland, but they are looking for something really specific. So this house pops up. We're the first showing. We make the offer. There's 2 other offers coming. So like you're still seeing, you have that urgency. And if you have a certain contingencies, like a home sale contingency, it's really tough to compete against those other buyers that are maybe waiving contingencies or just don't have a house to sell, things like that.
And I'm sure it's extra stressful too if you get like relocated for a job and it's like, how am I going to figure this out in a few weeks? But do some people give up and say, I'll just rent something for a little bit, or maybe I'll go live with the parents for a little bit? Or
it's usually the backup plan. I've actually had a handful of people relocate recently. Some clients just came from Italy. He was getting orders to get back to the US. And then I have clients that moved from California back in here. And yeah, just other friends, like they're coming from Virginia into Baltimore. So they're like, oh my gosh, like we actually got really lucky. One of the clients who just bought, she was like, I didn't think we'd find this house so quickly. So it's really fun. A lot of people were still just managing to get them a home, which is great. And not a lot of people have to actually fall back to that backup option of living with mom and dad.
You actually serve clients, so obviously from all over that might be coming into Baltimore, but do you also, it sounds like you sell homes in the county as well, or you're not just South Baltimore?
Not just South Baltimore. Obviously, that's where my heart is and where I want to be and be closer to my family. But a lot of clients that I do serve already live in the city, and maybe they just are first-time buyers and want to move up and buy a place around here. But I do have a lot of clients that already live in the city and maybe want to get a single-family home in the county. So that's typically when I'm taken out to the county as well.
One thing that a lot of people have been talking about around here lately, and it's a story I tried to dive into, but there just wasn't a lot of answers there yet, is obviously they're building those like close to 400 new homes at Lock Landing down in Baltimore Peninsula. And a lot of people are like, where are these kids going to go to school? And I think it's currently zoned for TJ, but FSK typically takes in a lot of kids that want to go there. I bet a lot of the families that are moving there are probably already in the area and probably already have a kid enrolled in one of the schools already. So it probably won't be as big of an absorption as you would think, but who knows? It'd be great if we got new families. But, do you see young families that are relocating to the area as well?
Yeah, for sure. And I think most of the young families that I'm seeing buying houses here either have been renting and just want to buy because now rates are coming down, affordability is getting better. But it's a ton of like the Banner Row houses, right? Like between there, Lock Landing, it's majority of South Baltimore people, some coming over from Canton, Fells, that area, but mostly people that know this area, they love it, they want to stay, they just have outgrown their space. And I've got some clients over on Andre Street, they just bought over in Lock Landing and they were thinking about going to the county, but we kept them in the city, so yay.
So are there any specific types of housing stock that are really in demand right now? I know one of the cool things about this area is you've got like these homes that are sometimes 150 years old, but you also have these new builds that are probably more fitted for the modern lifestyle. We got condos, we got apartments. What's trendy right now?
I definitely think it's like that first-time home buyer market. Like right now, I think people are really tired of renting and knowing that their money is just gone. And that's a big thing. A lot of the people that have been coming to me lately are like, all right, let's buy this first home. So it could be that $200,000 to $400,000 price point that tends to be pretty popular in this area. But yeah, I'm a big new construction person, so I like to think that's hot as well. And Banner Row's sold out, Lock Landing's coming. I think that's really exciting, but it depends on like the lifestyle you're looking for, I think. Obviously, some people, downsizers, they want the condo where they don't have to climb steps and things like that. So you're always going to have needs there. But I think I see a lot of young professionals and people that want to buy maybe their first starter home in the city, and that works out pretty well.
It seems a lot more since COVID, but you hear about these DC transplants coming to Baltimore, seeing the price of housing and seeing it as a good deal compared to DC. Obviously, we have a lot more kind of people that can work from home now. So what type of interest are you seeing in the market from DC buyers currently?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was maybe a little bit more apparent when at like the height of COVID, when things were really crazy. But I actually was just at a listing, like one of my open houses in Locust Point, and a woman comes in, she's like, hey, I work for the government. I don't have to go to the office anymore. I've never explored Baltimore before. Tell me about it, right? Like I don't know anything about these neighborhoods. And she was like, man, a house like this in DC would be over $1 million. It's $650 here. So the affordability is definitely much better here. I remember early on someone said a joke, hey, where's the cheapest place to live in DC? And the punchline's Baltimore. So people come here because they know they can get more space, and a lot of people are valuing that, especially if you're working from home. You need an office and rooms for guests and a gym in the house, things like that. So.
And I've certainly seen the memes too, where it says DC when you're only 45 minutes from DC.
Yeah.
So sometimes if it's that hour ride on the mark, maybe it'll take you 40 minutes to drive 3 miles in DC. So when a buyer comes to you, do they usually already know where the mark station is, or do you sometimes have to show them that?
Depends. I feel like the majority of my clients aren't from DC. They're definitely more South Baltimore, just Baltimore City people in general. Yeah. But yeah, when you're seeing that, I haven't had too many people actually needing to commute there daily. So the couple people I have talked to more recently, they're like, oh yeah, I only have to go a couple times a week, so I'll just drive. And they don't seem to have a problem with that. But the MARC train obviously is there and very easy. I would probably be a MARC train person because I could just sit back and catch up on email and do stuff. That sounds relaxing to me. I don't know.
Yeah, an hour where nobody's bothering you. That sounds real nice.
Yeah, gosh.
So it seems like a lot of houses are selling in South Baltimore. Seems like values are holding steady or even going up sometimes. So what do you think is driving the interest in the South Baltimore market?
I think it's a lot of things we already covered. The neighborhood is just wonderful in general. The vibe here, you can't have this in the county, but it is nice because we are so close to 95 that people can still commute out to wherever they need to go. So whenever I have buyers that are looking, like working outside the city, they're thinking, oh, we really like Canton, but I don't have to go through the tunnel or fight through city traffic and stuff. So I think that's a big part is for people's commutes. But as a realtor, we're not really able to talk about safety and demographics, so I won't look at it from that perspective. But I think people just value the community aspect and the local businesses and all the things that we have to offer. I mean, you've got museums. There's so much to do here.
Sure. And do you have a lot of buyers that are in like a multi-neighborhood, multi-town situation where they're looking all over? Or I'm sure you have some of those, and I'm sure there's also the buyers that are like, I got to be in Locust Point, whatever. So what's the breakdown of what you see as far as buyers, as far as how targeted they want to be?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have some buyers that are like, nope, I need to stick to Riverside, like these few blocks, and that's it. Like I had some clients, they lived on Riverside, they just bought on Covington, like very, very short distance. I have another client, she's on the 500 block of East Fort. She's like, I love this spot. I don't want to leave here. So you have those buyers that know what they want. And then there's other buyers, especially like I just met with a couple recently. They have 2 small kids and he works from home, but she's at University of Maryland Medical Center. And because he's from home, he's like, oh, I would really love more space, maybe up like Roland Park area or towards the county. And she's like, nope, we live in Fed. I love it here. We want to stay. So I think it really just depends. But I think most people around here tend to understand like the lifestyle they're looking for. And walkability is usually a huge factor in that.
It seemed like right around COVID, a lot of people were putting like additions on their house and renovating their house, but construction costs have obviously gone up a lot in recent years. Have you seen maybe a lot of people are priced out of putting that addition on their house now, where maybe the better option is getting something bigger in the neighborhood?
I know some who have renovated, but more people have just been like, I don't want to deal with that hassle. I don't want to live in a construction zone. If I can just go find a house that fits my needs, I would rather do that. And I think that's been the trend, at least from what I've seen, is more people just want to go find that other house. And then you could either rent your current house out, which is great, keep building equity. I'm a big advocate of doing that if you can. But some people are like, you know what? I just want the cash out and I don't want to be a landlord and let's sell this thing.
But obviously there's some other neighborhoods in South Baltimore that people have optimism about and want to see more investment and more stuff to do in those neighborhoods like Pigtown and Holland's Market. Obviously, we see what's going on in Baltimore Peninsula. So are there any positive trends going on in some communities like that?
Yeah, we were just talking about, obviously, Baltimore Peninsula. That used to be a Walmart with nothing there. And now look at it. I mean, I play volleyball down there with Volo every Tuesday, but I skipped last night because we went to Rice Street Tavern. And just being along the water there is so incredible. And the investment that they've made, even the trees, there's just like huge mature trees that feel like they could have been there forever. So that's really nice to see. But then, you've got Pigtown, Washington Village, all that stuff. And I love that aspect because there's so many residents and doctors and nurses who want to be close to the hospital up there. So I've seen that trend, at least as far as like a rental standpoint. One of my clients owns a house on Washington Boulevard there. And she's like, this has been an amazing rental. I need some cash out. I think I'm going to sell. I'm like, can I buy it from you? Because I don't know. It seems like a great up and coming area. And there's more breweries and more businesses that are going up there. So that's an exciting place too.
I meet people from all different ends of the community, from the community nonprofits and the business owners, everything. And I know there's a lot of hard work on the ground in those communities. So it's good to see that the work on the ground is certainly matching with some increased demand from real estate as well. So if someone is thinking about selling their house, are there any tips you might have, whether they should consider doing any renovations, whether staging, decluttering, any kind of tips you would give somebody who's thinking about selling?
Yeah, I think the place I would start there is, what do they need to do? Meaning, do they need to sell the house and live in the house while they're still having it on the market for showings? Or do they plan to move out and just maybe fully staged? So if they move out fully staged, that's one thing that's super easy. We just call in a stager and that's that route. But it becomes a little bit more fun and challenging when they live there, because the way we live in a house and the way we want it to look for photos and tours can be very different. If someone walked through my house with toys and kid stuff everywhere, no one's going to want to buy that house looking like that. What I do, I have a wonderful interior designer friend, Brittany Owing. She's fantastic. I bring her through all of the homes that my clients are going to sell while they're still living there. And she will go room by room with them and say, okay, we need to move this chair here. Let's change the artwork. Let's get fresh towels. She'll make a laundry list. And it's just such a wonderful thing for my clients to go and just say, oh my gosh, I don't have to think about where to start. I just follow Brittany's list and we just get it done. So that's a huge thing. I think that really helps people. But otherwise, yeah, decluttering, depersonalizing, it's taking your personal photos off the wall so people can walk in and not imagine your life. They're trying to see how they would live there, and just making it as clean and tidy as possible, everything off the countertops, and just really simplifying. That's usually the first place to start.
Gotcha. I always joke with my wife, Christine, that these are not scientific terms by any means, but I say there's like stuff people who just love stuff. They have all kinds of things, probably too many things in their house. And that's probably can be a challenging situation when selling a house. And then there's also minimalist people where it's, if we don't need it, get rid of it. And hopefully we trend more towards the latter. But I'm sure you've seen it all when trying to get a house ready for sale. And I'm sure some storage units get involved many times.
There was this one sweet lady once. I walked into her house and there was just a lot, right? There was a lot going on in there. But her daughter was away from college, but she had all these boxes in the basement. And this woman lived by herself. And I was like, oh my gosh, she wants this on the market like next week, right? How in the world is this house going to magically turn into what it needs to be? And Brittany worked with her. And I tell you, I went in, I was just shocked. I'm like, this looks like a totally different house. So I always tell people it's a lot of work, a lot of sweat and stress and all of this up front. But the more you can put into it to making it look great now, the better it's going to be later, because that's the hard part. It's just getting the house ready. And then from there, we just take over with marketing and all the fun stuff.
Do you ever have anybody do that, go through the whole declutter, organization, staging process, and they're like, oh my goodness, my house is amazing. I'm going to stay.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. We do like really great listing videos. My videographer, Mitch Goldstein's incredible, and he does drone and all this great stuff. And people watch it like, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't move now, because you forget once you pare down all the stuff that it can be really beautiful.
And how about buyers? Obviously, this market can be very competitive at times. How should you prepare a buyer to have the right mindset going in?
That's a great question. And I like to set expectations of, hey, this could really be competitive. Every time I have a new buyer, I always sit down and do a consultation before we even go look at houses. That's to understand what's important to them, but also educate them on the process. It could be a house that's sitting for a little bit longer and you might have more wiggle room to negotiate, or it could be a super hot commodity and there's going to be multiple offers. Relationships with other realtors can really come into play, and that's been helpful for clients. It's like I just had a call with another agent the other day. I was like, hey, my clients love this house, but she wants to qualify for this first-time homebuyer grant and stuff through her work, but that can't happen. We can't make an offer on this house because she wants that $5,000 grant. He was like, all right, well, if anybody comes around, I will let you know, because I would rather work with you. I know it's going to get to the closing table, potentially a random realtor or someone I've never worked with before. So that, to me, is always huge, having those relationships. But beyond that, sometimes it's just tightening up terms, like finding out what's really important to the seller. And I will always try to understand what they need. Do they need to live in the house after they sell it? Do they want to get out really fast? Or are, inspections, things like that important to them? So it's trying to figure out all those terms so we can tighten that offer as much as possible. And I have had clients win over other offers that had a higher price because they had more favorable terms elsewhere. So that's, I think, really important, is just to dial in that and know that, okay, if you can't go up on price, but we need to be more competitive in other areas. So it's just having flexibility and being open to trying different things.
And it sounds like you get some casual buyers too. I don't know if that's the right term, but somebody who's, like you were saying, I want to be in these 3 blocks of the Riverside neighborhood and I don't have to move, but if that house pops up, we're ready to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah. No, it definitely can happen for sure. I think if you're ready, like, man, we had another kid, or now I'm working from home, we need more space, or hey, now I'm back in the office, I don't need this much space.
Right.
If you have a need, like, people are always buying and selling, right? Even if the market's slow or it's crazy. So it really just depends. If you truly want to move and you're ready, willing, and able, we'll make it happen.
So Allie, can you tell us about your team that you work with?
Sure. So I'm with Compass Real Estate. So first and foremost, Compass is amazing. The brokerage as a whole, we're the number 1 brokerage in the country as far as sales volume, which is really awesome. So we have this national network of 30,000 agents across the country. So my teammate Kelsey, who I'll mention in a second, she'll come in the office and say, hey, do you have someone in Denver? I'm like, oh yeah, Sarah, like definitely call her. So it's really nice to have these relationships for people. So if someone's looking to relocate out of Maryland, sadly, we can always connect them with an agent that would be amazing and give them the level of service we would expect to have. But then as far as the team here in Baltimore, it's myself and Kelsey Herson. Kelsey's a newer agent. She's been in the business a couple years now, and she's phenomenal. She's just so professional, so on top of it, organized, just a wonderful human being. So I really love working with her. We get along great. And we have Veronica. She helps us with admin, social media, marketing stuff. And we just hired Emily, and she's going to help with more client care, client experience stuff. So more events coming, which should be fun, and hopefully more client gifts, and just helping us be more consistent on the fun personal touches and stuff. And we also have Courtney joining us soon, and potentially one more person that's a Locust Point guy. So yeah, we'll see how that all goes. And it's super exciting. I played sports growing up, so I just love that collaboration and teamwork and supporting each other. And as you mentioned, like the market being super fast, you got to jump and get to a house quickly. I can't always be two places at once. And the beauty of the team is Kelsey can always step in and get to a showing for a client or cover an open house to make sure we're getting the sellers as many opportunities to get buyers in there and things like that. I love the team, and I thank them for putting up with me and being patient, because I feel like I'm all over the place all the time, but it's great. I love it.
Thank you, Allie. I really appreciate you not only enjoying the show, but just everything you do for the neighborhood. And I came to discover you through the 21230 show. I was like just blown away by the videos you do and like how you do that for the community. And I just think it's a great thing that helps all of us here to get the positive word out.
Yes.
I'm glad things are growing. And
thank you.
Thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this has been fun, and I feel very honored. So thank you very much.